Harbor Audio presents Downfall, a Brady novel of suspense, and Random Acts, a Joanna Brady and Ali Reynolds novella, by J.A. Jance, performed by Hilary Huber. Prologue. Sheriff Joanna Brady pulled into the parking place in front of the Higgins Funeral Chapel, put her Buick Enclave in park, and then sat, staring at the storefront before her, only vaguely aware of her surroundings. Lowering clouds blanketed the Mule Mountains in southeastern Arizona. It was the last day of August. The summer monsoons had arrived early and stayed on, leaving the desert grassland valleys of Cochise County lush and green. A flash of lightning off toward the east roused Joanna from her reverie, with a warning that the skies might open up at any moment. Still, she lingered, unready to go inside and face down this awful but necessary task. She was relieved when her phone rang with her husband's name in the caller ID window. Answering a call gave her an excuse to stall a little longer. "Hey," she said, "where are you? I thought you'd be here by now." "So did I, and we would have been," Butch said, "if not for the huge backup caused by a semi-rollover on the I-10 bridge over the Gila. We're in Tombstone right now. If I come straight there, I could arrive before they close, but—" "No," Joanna said firmly. "Take Denny home. A funeral home is no place for a 5-year-old. I'll handle this on my own." "You're sure?" "I'm sure," she said, reaching for the door handle. "I'll see you at home." She switched her phone to silent and stepped out of the SUV, just as the first fat raindrops splattered down on the hot pavement. As soon as the moisture dampened nearby overheated creosote bushes, the air came alive with the unmistakable perfume of desert rain. Most of the time, Joanna would have rejoiced at that distinctive aroma, but not today. Instead, she crossed the sidewalk and opened an all-too-familiar door. She had come to the Higgins Funeral Chapel for the first time as a teenager, arriving there with her mother, Eleanor, in the aftermath of her father's death. D.H. Lathrop had been changing a tire for a stranded family when he had been struck and killed by a passing vehicle. Then Joanna had come here alone 9 years ago. On that occasion, she had been a widow, making funeral arrangements for her newly deceased husband, Andrew Roy Brady. And this time? A week earlier, in the dead of August, life had been as normal as Joanna's life could be, considering she was a busy county sheriff with a daughter heading off to college, a 5-year-old son starting kindergarten, and a baby girl due to arrive in early December. That normal had been shattered by a 3 a.m. phone call that had rousted her out of bed with the news that her mother, Eleanor Lathrop Winfield, and her stepfather, George Winfield, had been involved in a serious vehicular accident while driving their RV home to Bisbee from a summertime sojourn in Minnesota. George died at the scene. Eleanor had perished after being airlifted to a Phoenix area hospital for treatment. In the ensuing investigation, Joanna discovered that what had originally been regarded as a simple traffic accident was anything but. A troubled kid, wielding a high-powered rifle with a laser scope, had stationed himself on a highway overpass south of Camp Verde, where he had fired at passing vehicles. With the help of a relatively new friend, Ali Reynolds, Joanna had helped search for and eventually find the shooter. While attempting to elude his pursuers, the boy had crashed his 4x4. Less than 24 hours after George and Eleanor's murders, Joanna had found herself kneeling on the ground at the injured boy's side, comforting their dying killer. Now she was left cleaning up the rest of the bits and pieces. The remains had finally been released by the Yavapai County Medical Examiner's Office. The mortuary had called earlier that day to say that the bodies had arrived in Bisbee shortly after noon. A discreet chime sounded in a distant room.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?